In this unit, we're going to discuss how to break your fear of real estate agents. I've never been afraid of real estate agents, but probably the reason for that is because I started out as one. I was actually a real estate agent before I was a loan officer, and for a long time in California, I did both. I was both a realtor and a loan officer at the same time, because in that particular marketplace, we never did FHA, and I didn't have to deal with the issue of being in compliance with the HUD regulations that state you cannot be a member of the Board of Realtors and be FHA certified. So at the time I did both. I did a lot of conventional and subprime while I was a realtor. Occasionally I would do a double or triple sided deal where I'd do the loan and the buyer, or the loan, the buyer, and the seller, and I did a couple of those, and they were sweet deals. But times have changed, and I had to make a decision. I had to say, do I want to still be a realtor, or do I want to go 100% into the loan officer realm? And really the majority of my business has been in loans, so what I did is I put all my guns into the loan officer realm. It's been a time of change, but the thing you need to realize is that realtors by themselves are not gods. They're not people who sit around all day and are high powered. Most realtors, 95% of them, are clueless. Really, think about it. How hard is it to become a realtor? You get your license, you join the board of realtors, you interview for any one of 5 or 6 different companies, major brands or the smaller shops, and all of them agree to hire you. In fact, those shops will hire anybody. They'd hire a ham sandwich if it had a real estate license. I kid you not. There is literally no disqualification process whatsoever. They'll say, oh, you used to wait tables a week ago? Or, hey, you've tended bar for the last 5 years? Sure, you'd make a great realtor. You're probably a people person. Not realizing that there's a whole side of the business that deals with sales, prospecting, and marketing. In fact, some of the greatest real estate trainers are the ones that have really focused in on the fact and teaching realtors how to prospect. One of the ones that I listen to that even to this day affects me greatly is Mike Ferry. I give him a lot of credit for what I am today. I've used a lot of his techniques over the years. I've used a lot of his ideas over the years, and they have really shaped me as a loan officer. And I always believe in giving credit where credit is due, because none of us just comes out of nowhere and comes up with these great systems and ideas. They're always built on our predecessors. One of the things that realtors struggle with is realtors have low sales skills. That means they have to learn how to be a salesperson, and many times they're surrounded in an office by other low-skill salespeople. That's pretty rough. In fact, mortgage companies are different than real estate offices in one major way. Typically, most real estate companies are more corporate. What I mean by that is there's a manager and you report up to your manager. In the real estate universe, every realtor is their own entrepreneur, so they have to figure it out for themselves. And sometimes a top producer will take them under the wing and work with them, but many times these guys are struggling to make it happen. They know that the top guys make 2, 3, 4, 500, $1 million a year in a major marketplace. They know it. They see it. They do the math in their head. They look up the MLS logs to see how many transactions a particular realtor has done. They reverse engineer the math and they say, oh my gosh, this guy did $900,000 last year. How do I get there? Now, that guy will never tell the new agent how he did it. Majority of the top agents in any marketplace usually follow into one of 2 categories. Either they're heavy prospectors and they get on the phones and prospect FSBOs, expireds, various people around listings, where they'll take a listing, do a radius search around it, and start calling around that listing. Or they're marketers, where they'll follow more of like the Craig Proctor system, where they'll go out and spend a lot of money. Now the prospectors tend to do somewhat less deals, but they have a very high net profit. The marketers have to do a lot of deals because the problem with them is they have a huge expense every month. They have to cut $8, $9, $10,000 a month to make it happen, and then they see some profit. But both types are really good to deal with. I prefer to go with the prospectors because I speak their language a little bit better, but I also do okay with the marketers too because I've studied all the different systems. And a lot of this stuff can be bought on eBay. If you want all the Mike Ferry stuff, go on eBay, buy it. It's cheap. Same thing for Craig Proctor. I bought the entire several $1,000 Craig Proctor system for like $300 on eBay. And it's good to learn just so you can understand what realtors are trying to do out there, and you can speak intelligently to them. And if you figure out which guru they follow, because many of the top producers follow some type of system, whether it be by referral only, which is Joe Stump, or Brian Buffini, which is another referral system, or the Mike Ferry system, which prospects, or Craig Proctor, who's in the marketing. If you understand those systems, or at least understand a couple things about them and do some research, you can speak their language and build some bonds. Realize that most realtors want your help. Now, they don't want to be assaulted by another loan officer who has the best rate, has the best service, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine, that's lame. But if you have a reason to call them, and we're going to talk about and teach you how to call them a little bit later on and have a reason to call them beyond just simply, we have the best rates and we're going to help you out, and we have the best service, better than anybody else. In fact, we have the bestest everything. That's going to turn them off. But if you have a reason to call them, and I'm going to teach you how to create a reason to call them later on, you'll fall into line with them just fine. And you'll be able to build rapport and talk with them and introduce them to cross-marketing systems that you may have. In fact, many realtors have a real tough problem. That's lead follow-up. If they can find somebody that can help them follow up on their leads and correctly convert those leads, you're going to be their best friend forever, and they're never going to stab you in the back and sell you out. And we're going to discuss later on the proper way to do that. So let's go on to our next unit, which is quite simply entitled Understanding the Different Types of Realtors.